Well, hello model car fans. Welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Revell, and this week I'm going to feature a build here of a 56 Bel Air Nomad Wagon. What a car this is. This is one of my favorites. I love the Tri-5s and I love the styling, although I'll have to say that 56 is not my favorite year. It falls third in the Tri-5s, but I love the Tri-5s. Which, if those of you guys haven't heard the term Tri-5s, that's referring to the 55, 56, and 57 Chevys. They're kind of grouped together because of frame design and how they were marketed and made. And 58, while very similar, went to the 4 headlights and some drastic changes for 58, but the biggest thing was the X-frame. But staying with the Tri-5s here, or 56 in general, 56 was a big year. GM was just, not just GM, Chevrolet was just huge back then. I mean, talk about dominating the marketplace. For 56, even though sales were down for Chevrolet, they sold 1.6 million of these cars in 1956. Now that's passenger cars, all the 56, the 210, the 150, the Bel Air, whether it's convertible, Nomad, sedan, 4-door, and some of that. It's just one heck of a year. And 55 was a smash hit for them. They sold like 1.8 million. So 56 compared to 55, their sales were down just a tad bit. But for me, I like to look at the stats, and I just kind of like to look at that stuff and think what it was like back then when Chevrolet themselves controlled 44% of the marketplace. I mean, that's huge. And you can kind of understand why in the 60s they were being threatened by the government to break them up, because they were such a dominating force. That many people owned Chevrolets or were buying new Chevrolets back then. It just blows my mind. But when I start looking at the options and statistics and some of that stuff, because I like to get into that and just like to find unusual things. When it comes to all of those sales, the rarest car is the Nomad. This is the rarest car in 1956, and actually in all the Tri-5s, the 2-door Nomad Wagon. For 56, there were 8,100 of them made, and they hovered around 8,000. 55 was a little bit better. I believe it was like 8,400, and 57 there was like 8,700. But the Nomad 2-door wagons were the rarest cars, but the wagons really didn't have a huge marketplace, especially the 2-doors. Now, the 2-doors, they didn't how do I say it? They were different when it came to the wagons. The Nomad had a completely different, this B-pillar was raked in forward, the roof was completely different. I understand that the windshield is actually the Bel Air windshield, and that the other wagons use the 4-doors windshields, and the Bel Air's windshield was 2 inches lower, so this roof is just a tad lower than the other wagons. But even the 2-door Handyman, the 210 and the 150, the pillar was upright and the roof was smooth, didn't have the slats up there. So there was some serious body differences between a Nomad and a regular wagon. And the Nomad was quite expensive too. It was $2,400 base price. Over some of the other cars were like $2,000, $2,100. So it's quite a big difference in price, which doesn't seem like a lot now, but it was in 1956. Now I like to look at some of the other things. The top seller, and you don't see them too often. For 56, it was the 4-door 210 model. For 55, it was also a 4-door, but it was the Bel Air model. So for 55, the top seller was the 55 Bel Air 4-door sedan. 56, it was the 210 4-door sedan. Interestingly, 56 was the first year for the 4-door Sport Coupe hardtop. The 55, the 4-door was sedan only, post car. That's, if you don't know the difference, the hardtop had, when you rolled the windows down, there was no B-pillar, it was a hardtop. So if you didn't look real closely, you might notice that the roof's a little different and it appears like a 2-door, but it's a 4-door, but there's no window frames. You roll the windows down. So I think they're pretty cool, but you just don't see them. But the top sellers were the 4-doors, which kind of amazing when you look at the stats and you just don't see them. You do and you don't. When you see restored ones, it's always the rare. You see the convertibles and you see these Nomads, which, you know, for as rare as they are, there's quite a number of them out there, and they're not hard to find online for reference photos and everything. Another thing that I thought was interesting, and this is stuff that makes me think, makes me wonder, keeps me up at night or excited about projects. 56, when I was reading the options and just stuff, in 55 you can get the inline 6 stove bolt with an automatic or a manual. Now, a lot of people, they bought the manual, so I kind of wonder if this had a factor to do with it or if there was another thing going on. But in 56, the stove bolt 6 was only available with the manual tranny. It's 3 on the tree. And then for comparison, the automatic was strictly the 2-speed power glide. So no 6-cylinder automatics in 56, which that's, to me, is kind of strange that it was available in 55 but not in 56. So it leads me to think that either it was a numbers thing where so few people that bought the 6-cylinder bought the automatic that they just dropped it, or there was another issue where the automatic robbed too much power and was too sluggish, so they just stayed with the 3 on the tree. So I just kind of wonder that. Plus it's an extra cost option. The automatic was more than the manual. Another thing for 56, and I had a friend that had one of these, and he jokingly was telling me about it, and he wanted to see what my reaction would be, just kind of, because he knew I liked trivia and I liked some of this stuff. He goes, "How do you put gas in this car?" I actually knew the answer to it. I go, "The gas door is actually behind the taillight. It's behind this taillight here." But what I didn't remember or know, because nobody had ever actually showed me, is there's a tiny little latch in the chrome in the bottom here somewhere, and you push it in and it pops and the whole taillight just lifts up and the gas door is behind it, or the gas filler. So the whole taillight lifts up. 55, it's on the side here and it's a visible gas door. 57, it's in the tail fin also, but it's right above the taillight and it swings out. So if you didn't know that, the gas filler necks on the 56 and 57s are hidden, and I think that's just cool that they did that, and we're just kind of thinking that way. You don't see that now anymore, and even when I, am gassing up the Chevelle, I get comments every now and then where somebody sees me putting gas in, and it's kind of weird seeing me drop the license plate, squatted down, putting gas in it, because cars don't do that anymore, but they did back then. But if you're not into them, you just don't know stuff like that. But when it came to building this model, now I built this back in 2015, and it's the Revell kit, and I'll throw the box art up on this one. And I built it right out of the box, and I had no issues with it, although I understand the first issue of this actually had the bumper was too far out, and it was this valance panel that's painted body color here was actually longer and pushed the front bumper out, and I understand that Revell had corrected that. And the later issues, which is what I had, did not have that issue. I did not know that at the time when I bought the kit, didn't really worry about it, and this one stood out and it's nice. And it's got this mold line in the bumper that I kind of wish I had sanded off and removed, but that would require re-chroming the bumper, which I had done that on other kits, but I didn't do that on this one. And since getting things re-chromed is a little bit different now, for me anyway, because I used to use Chrome Tech Bob, Chrome Tech USA. Since he's retired, I really haven't found anybody yet or used anybody else. But, the chrome on this one was very nice. And when I was researching it, I found some pictures of the yellow and black one like this, and I found it as a striking combo. I can't tell you what colors I actually used to make this, so I'm sorry. Some of the stuff I logged and some of it I didn't, and I don't have a whole lot of pictures of me actually building this one. I do have one small mistake on this one that I know now, and with my automotive trivia I didn't quite catch it at the time, but the motor on this is actually incorrect. It's correct, but it's incorrect, and it's me. I painted that engine orange, and a lot of people do, but the trivia that goes with that, in 56 the motors were red. Now the lighting on this and the shade kind of make it look a little more red, but it should be more of a darker red, where I've got it more of the orange. So it kind of is, it kind of isn't. I didn't use the correct Chevrolet orange. I used kind of an orange I had, so it appears a little red. And I believe this is a manual tranny in here, in the kit anyway. But this kit, very nice detail. It's just great right out of the box. So if you haven't built one of these kits, it's a great kit. Or any of these Revell Tri-5s. Well, not any of them. There are some older tool ones, but the modern tool ones, they're very nice. And like you see, this hood, it hinges. It's kind of, I can get the hood off. It's just kind of finicky. So I'm just lifting it up, and I painted the underside of the hood. But the firewall on the real cars is painted body color, but the rest of the engine compartment is black. And then I broke the tip of the antenna off. Kind of odd, but I ended up doing that. But everything else on it's very nice. And I think I got the hood kind of, yep, I got the hood kind of off now. So there you go. There's a much better shot of the engine and all the details. Now, and Revell did this correctly. The oil filter is not up here. It is on the 55 kit, but on the 56, they do have it down here, which is a canister. So 56 is the first year for the oil filter that's actually cast in the block. 55 engines do not have the oil filter cast in the block, but the Revell 55 kits actually have the oil filter mounted up here. And I believe I pointed that out in my pace car build when I featured that. So Revell's done their homework on this kit, and it's a great kit other than, you know, all of the extra foil work that you got to go through. But very nice interior. And as much as I love wagons, this is the third one I built, and this one I haven't featured yet, but I featured my other two, my 66 Chevelle wagon, which is a custom, and my 57 Ford Ranch wagon, which is also a custom build. All three of those I've placed, I've gotten trophies. And this one as well won the club theme one particular month when we were showing it, Builder's Choice. So I've got some pictures of that, a trophy as well. But I don't have a whole lot of pictures of me actually building this, which is kind of common when I do right out of the box. I just sort of build it and enjoy it. And if it comes out nice, I show it. And, you know, it goes from there, you know, typical. But really enjoyed this one, and I've also picked up some of the other Revell ones, and there's some of them I haven't built yet. I even have the resin body to turn the 56 Delray kit into a Bel Air. MCW offers that body. I have that. I haven't built it yet, but I've been wanting to do that, you know, to have a 56 Bel Air two-door. So that's in my stash of things to build someday. And then same thing with the 57 Bel Air convertible. That one I really want to build, and I've got a couple of the 57s. But speaking of the 57, I've also got MCW's resin 57 Nomad Wagon, which that body is actually pretty cool as well. And you can use the 210 kit as the donor on that, as it comes with some of the wagon parts. Or if you got one of these for a parts kit, you can use its glass, but he provides vacuum formed glass. But anyway, that's enough rambling on this particular build, and I hope you enjoyed it, and as I enjoyed building it and enjoy showing it to you. So thank you for tuning in, subscribing, and all your comments. I really appreciate it. And you guys, you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next Saturday.